Parsha Shmos, when Hashem sends Moshe down to Mitzrayim, and he says, okay, you have a mission to go take Bnei Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. Moshe goes down and he relays over to Bnei Yisrael that the time has come. Okay, it's been really terrible here in Mitzrayim. I've come to take you out. And the pasuk says in Perek Daled, pasuk Chavtes, Vayelech Moshe va'Aaron vayasvu as kol zeknei Bnei Yisrael. They gathered all the Zekanim. Vayidaber Aaron as kol advarim asher diber Hashem el Moshe. Aaron tells over everything that Hashem told him and Moshe. Vayasa sos l'nei am. He did signs, the nisim, to show them that it's really true. Vayamein am. The Jewish people believed. Vayishmu ki bakor Hashem es Bnei Yisrael. They saw, they heard that Hashem finally came to save them. B'chiras adyan vayigdu vayishtachavu. And they danced. They bowed down. They were ecstatic. Finally, we're having such a hard time for so many years, and finally the salvation has come. Someone has come to take us out. Party. Okay. Fast forward to last week's parsha, 2 weeks ago. Parsha's Va'era, and the pasuk says in Perek Vav, pasuk Vav, Moshe and Aaron, they give an even better speech to Bnei Yisrael, and they say as follows: Hashem heard your cry. L'chein amor l'bnei Yisrael ani Hashem v'otzeisi eschem mitachas avos Mitzrayim v'itzalti eschem me'avodasan v'ga'alti eschem. The four lashonos of Geula that we say at the night of Seder: v'otzeiti v'itzalti v'ga'alti v'lakachti. Not just am I going to take you out, but I'm going to bring you to Eretz Yisrael. You're going to have a relationship with Hashem. Much more than what they said the last time. So now we expect, if the first time there was a super duper party, we expect the second time to be even greater than that. And the pasuk says, "Vaydaber Moshe kein b'nei Yisrael," pasuk tes, "V'lo shamu el Moshe." They didn't even pay attention, didn't listen to him. Mikotze ruach u'mevada kasha. From the fact that they didn't have the ability to breathe. There was nothing to them, no life, and hard work. So it's very strange. The first time they hear, I'm here, I'm going to take you out, Bnei Yisrael are ecstatic. The second time they get a whole charismatic speech about how they're not just going to be taken out, they have nothing to do with Mitzrayim anymore, they're going to marry Hashem, they're going to go to Eretz Yisrael. Off the charts. Moshe, please, leave us alone. So what happened? What changed? So the Mefarshim tell us that there was a very big shift that occurred in the middle. And that is that in the middle, Moshe went to Paro and said, we want to go out to celebrate with our God, to worship Him. And Paro said, we see that you have too much time on your hands. So from now on, we're not going to give you the bricks. You have to make the bricks yourself. And the quota is going to be exactly the same. So you're going to have more and more and more work. So they were so busy, the Avodah Kasha was so hard, so intense, that they can no longer listen, they can no longer pay attention to what Moshe was saying. They couldn't appreciate the amazing news that Moshe was announcing. And the Mesilas Yesharim writes in the very beginning, Mesilas Yesharim is a sefer we all have to learn, but at least the ones who start, at least they get to the beginning. You have to learn the whole sefer and make a siyum on it and invite me to the siyum. But at least the beginning is so crucial, where the Ramchal says that this strategy of Paro is the strategy of the Yetzer Hara in every single generation. In every single generation, people talk about, nowadays we have phones and people are distracted. The Ramchal, lived a few hundred years ago, spoke about this distraction, not phone specifically, but the Yetzer Hara's distraction for generations. Forever. There was a strategy and a tactic of the Yetzer Hara of Paro to say whenever a person is actually thinking about connecting to Hashem, to growing in their avodas Hashem, let me get them busy. I'm going to make them so busy that they don't have time to stop and think and appreciate what really is going on and what their potential and what direction they're going on. For example, let's give in the olden days, right? You wanted to go ahead and get a piece of meat, right? So how do you get a piece of meat right now? You go to the store, you ask what type, you want well done, you get whatever you want, how you want it, 2 seconds. You just have the money and you got your hamburger, right? Back in the day, you had to have your cow, You had to shecht it. You had to go take it to the rabbi to see if it's kosher. Then you had to go ahead and skin it. You go the whole process just to get a simple piece of meat. You were very distracted if you actually wanted that meat. It took a lot of time. You wanted milk. You didn't just open the fridge and take out the milk. You had to go milk the cow. Right? Anything that you needed was different. Okay, nowadays we don't have that. We have other distractions. The Yetzer Hara in every single generation looks for ways for us to be busy. And the busier we are, explains the Ramchal, it doesn't allow us to focus on the goal. Right? A person could be doing great things. You could be showing up every single morning, doing your thing, learning, working on yourself, etc. But if you don't take time out of your busy schedule to focus and say, wait a minute, am I learning the right things? Am I working on the right midah right now? Or am I just reading these books because it's fun? What am I doing and why am I doing it? Says the Ramchal, you're going to fall in the complexity of what we call life. Right? It's important not just to have goals. That's also important. That's step one. But even after we know what our goal is, what are we shooting for? Okay, we want to be exactly like Hashem. We want to be super close to Hashem. We have super high goals, right? But then you have to take time out of your schedule to think about what is the way to get there. What is that midah that I need to work on? What is it that happened to me today that I learned about myself in even a positive way that I could add on to, that I could go ahead and get further and further. The more that we just do and act without ever taking time out of our schedule to stop and think and focus, says the Ramchal, we're going to be distracted. And that's what Paro knew. Moshe and Aaron said that Bnei Yisrael wanted to go ahead and then party with Hashem. They wanted to serve him. That must mean they have too much time on their hands. They're thinking too much. Okay, no more bricks, more work. And it worked, because the more work that they had, now comes Moshe Rabbeinu and he gives them this amazing speech about how we're going to have an amazing life going forward. And they say, Moshe, please, we're busy. We got to finish the quota. We're going to get beaten. Please, Moshe, please. They didn't even hear what he had to say. V'lo shamu el Moshe. They couldn't hear him. He was speaking. Couldn't hear him. Because they never took the time, they didn't have the time to be able to go ahead and focus. And this is already merumas, it's hinted to in the actual structure of the Torah. Because in the beginning of Parshas Vayechi, in between Parshas Vayigash and Vayechi, the Torah has no break. Normally, if you look at a Sefer Torah, at the end of every Parsha, there are 9 empty spaces. That's halacha. You have to leave 9 spaces of white parchment in between a Parsha. But between Vayigash and Vayechi, there's nothing. It's a stuma. It goes totally straight through. There's nothing there. Why? So Rashi says, what's the reason that there's no break in between Parshas Vayigash and Vayechi? He says Vayechi is about Yaakov dying, and once Yaakov died, the subjugation began in Mitzrayim. So what? Someone's heard in the name of Gdal Yeshua that Rashi in the beginning of Parshas Vayikra says, why are there spaces in the Torah? So that when Moshe Rabbeinu was hearing from Hashem, he would take a pause, he would stop and reflect and review what he learned. Rashi writes, if Moshe, the star Talmud, who was learning from the best Rebbe, he had to stop to do Chazara, he had to stop to review and process what he learned. Kal v'chomer, the amazing people in this room who have amazing Rebbeim, they of course have to take us time out to review and process what they learned. If Moshe had to do it from Hashem, of course we have to as well. Okay, but that's the idea of a space in the Torah. It's about stopping, reflecting, and processing what you learned. So Yeshua explained that why is there no pause in between Vayigash and Vayechi? Because once Bnei Yisrael had to start working, that's when the subjugation, the slavery began, so they didn't have as much time to stop and think and reflect. So to hint to that, there are no spaces. In contrast, this week's Parsha, Parshas Beshalach, we read Az Yashir, like we say at the end of the day, every day, at the end of Psukei Zimra, and there's spaces galore. Anyone who gets the opportunity to look in the Sefer Torah this Shabbos, you'll see spaces all over the place. Why? Because when a person is able to have space, and he's able to think, and he's able to process what's going on in his life, that's the only time that a person can actually sing Shira. That's the only time that a person could see all the bracha, all the positivity in their lives. But without that space, you'll never be able to sing. You'll never be able to go ahead and appreciate what's going on. So it's crucial that as we're embarking on our learning and our growth in Avodas Hashem, when we leave the walls of the yeshiva and we're working or married, we have relationships, whatever it is, and the Yetzer Hara in every single generation is going to go ahead and still try to distract us and make us busy and busy and busy. It's crucial that we always make sure that we have time to ourselves, a little bit of space to do cheshbon and nefesh, to reflect on what we're doing, why we're doing it, and are we using the right processes in order to go ahead and get there? Or do we need to change paths? Do we need to try to learn something new in order to be able to reach our goals in the most efficient and successful way? But this is a little scary sometimes. Sometimes people are scared of having space. They're scared to just take a break and not do anything. And someone once told me he was driving a certain very big Rav, picked him up from the airport, and he took him to where he was going. So when he picked him up, he asked the Rav, he said, I have certain shiurim in my car, would you like to listen to a shiur? So he said, actually, I want to hear nothing. I need time just to think about what's going on. We're very busy, again, with even sometimes good things, but we're scared sometimes of just taking time out to think. A student once said to me, recently actually, said, it's very hard for me to daven. So I said, what's the challenge? Let's work through it. Is it the meaning of the words? What is it? So he said to me, no, it's very scary for me to be in Shemona Esrei by myself when I can't speak out loud and I'm just totally in my head. It's extremely scary. I'm like, it only takes a few minutes. I can't do it. I can't do it. And the person said, that is my main issue with davening. We had to go through some strategies to not feel that. But just to be by ourselves, alone in our heads, is a very scary thing. The Mishnah actually says in Pirkei Avos, "Ha'holech yechidi balayla," if someone is walking alone at night, harei mischayev benafsho. It's like death for this guy. Taking a walk, a stroll at night by yourself, what's the big deal? So the Chassid Yavitz explains the Mishnah as follows. He says, at night, it's dark, there's no one around, it's just you and yourself walking. And when that happens, there's a strong danger. The Yetzer Hara starts to get you to start thinking about bad things, takes you to bad places. And therefore, you're running into a problem by doing that. Okay, so that means we never could be alone? No, of course we have to be alone. And we are always going to be in situations of being alone. The question is, what support system do we have to fall on when we are alone? For example, if you look at the Shira, it's true that there are empty spaces all over the place, but under each space, there are words. There's something to hold it. You don't just fall straight down. There's bricks under every white space that holds up the white space. You could be in the white space, you could be in that empty space, you could be in that time that you could think, but you have healthy areas and tactics and strategies to hold you up at that point. If a person is worried about what am I going to be alone if I have my phone with me, I'm going to be alone with my phone, what am I going to go to, what am I going to do, what am I going to look at, okay? So you put a filter on the phone. Tag is coming this week. Mitzvah Hashem, anyone who wants to be able to help their phone and help their empty spaces, this is the time to do it. There are strategies, there are ways of going ahead and making it that when we are alone, we don't fall to dangerous places. We don't fall to places that could be destructive to us. But we have to set ourselves up. It's the wrong answer to say, I'm just keeping myself busy all the time. I'm going to be learning all the time. Learning. That's unhealthy, because the second you're not doing that, poof, you're gone. Bein Hazmanim comes, it's over. Friday, Shabbos, forget it. You're in trouble. We have to learn how to be able to take healthy breaks, how to be able to think and reflect in a way that doesn't take us to bad places. And we have to make sure that any risks that are along the way, we have already set proper cushions up so that we can be successful. It's crucial to take those breaks. And without those breaks, again, you can't sing Shira. You can't be successful. You can't be Oved Hashem without those breaks. We just have to make sure that we're set up in the right way. The bracha to all of us is that we're able to take those breaks, we're able to create that space in our lives, to be able to think, to reflect, to plan and strategize how we can continue to be the greatest people that we could be. And we should make sure that those spaces are healthy and positive and ones that we're excited to go to, so that we can even accomplish more and reach even higher goals than we set out to begin with. Shavua Tov.